to continued voyages.
In this episode of Sailing Dark Angel, we look back at the past season. We left Florida with a plan for the Bahamas, but things started going sideways almost immediately with sail damage heading into Bimini. We made it to the Ragged Islands and found some of the best diving we've ever experienced. Then everything changed. A lightning strike left us dealing with damaged systems and trying to keep moving forward without the equipment we rely on.
If you like our videos, please smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell. It's free for you and really helps our channel.
So, what are you doing today, not Kat and Lisa?
We're talking about season 4. This season didn't go the way we thought it would at all. Not even close.
So, man, before we even left Florida, things started to go sideways. There was a couple of hurricanes while we were on mooring in West Palm Beach doing engine work, and we got hit by 2 boats at the exact same time, and then another boat another time. We fended most of them off, but we do have a little bit of damage around the rub rails, and our starboard bow pulpit has, the rails are bent, and that needs to be fixed. We left Florida to go to Bimini.
We were 5 miles out, and then a squall hit us, and it ripped our jib to crap. Just ripped it to shreds.
And it damaged the main. And we mean 5 miles from Bimini, not 5 miles from Florida.
This is just getting started.
We were
so
there.
We're like, uh-oh.
Yeah, that was bad, man.
Uh-oh.
And we sail on the jib all the time. And now suddenly it's good for a ribbon ceremony, I guess, because it was...
Well, I ripped strips off of it, remember, and I tied some of it to the front of the boat to remind myself that when I see the dark clouds coming in, just drop
drop
the sails, drop the damn sails, just drop them, okay? Now, all we have is the mainsail to continue on. So we're going to be burning a lot more fuel because the difference between opening up the jib and pulling up the main, it's night and day. Jib, so easy. Boom, it's open. You just, and it's open. But that's a whole new level of you better know what you're doing. He has to go up on the coach roof to get it all set up. And obviously you're not going to be doing that in higher seas. So, but the winds all come in the higher seas. So, and then you're pulling up the main, and then when you want to drop it, it's another whole new set of be careful, because once again, not everything is from the cockpit. You have to be up on deck, and if it's not the most pleasant weather out there, really the last place you want to be is up on deck.
Yeah, even with lifelines and tethers and stuff, it's not safe up there. It's really dangerous. Mm-hmm. And the mainsail won't drop. There are no bearings in the cars on the mainsail. They're sliders, and they just don't drop. So you've got to go pull them down.
Yeah, and we've used the McLube. We've used all of the stuff that we're supposed to use, and it still doesn't come down like lickety split. He has to go up there where the boom is, and it's, there's the potential there, and he's got to pull that sail down. Now, keep in mind, this is my view of it. I'm standing there at the helm, I'm watching him, and I've got to make sure that I don't have that boom come and flick him off like a pea on the end of a spoon, because I'm telling you, picking up anything up out of the ocean and keeping your eyeballs on it and managing everything all at the same time, and heaven forbid that you're dealing with a storm front or a squall coming in, you're screwed. And he's in the water. Like these scenarios, now that I'm a bit more seasoned, these are the scenarios that play in my head, and it can be quite stressful.
Ignorance really is bliss in this lifestyle.
Oh, absolutely. At first it was like la da 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 da, and you're just going along the way, and you have no idea. Now, when you're going in cuts, and you're like, your eyeballs are like this because you could be pulled over to the rocks. It could be pushing you out. You can do go over a standing wave, and all the stuff in your boat goes whoosh like this. So yeah, there's a lot more than to navigate than just what you think there is to begin with. So one of the goals that we had was to get to Georgetown on time because we did have family flying in. And that meant that we were on a pretty tight timeline to meet that date, which means that even though we went through the kerfuffle of getting to Bimini and that storm and it ripping apart our jib, we had, I think, a total of 10 days to make it to Georgetown in between. So Bimini to Georgetown is a long way.
It is.
Long way, yeah. If you take a look at the map right here, you can see it's a very long way. But we made it in
under a week.
Yeah, we made it under a week. So we had maybe 4 days grace.
Something like that, yeah. And we didn't sail at night, so through the day we were hammered down. Up at dawn, dropped the anchor at dusk.
Yeah.
Get up at dawn and just hammer down the whole way. You don't get to see much, but man. And we'd never had family on the boat before. We really didn't want to screw that up.
We were really super excited. I wanted to make sure that we got there on time. And when we did arrive, of course, that gave me grace to be able to clean the boat before we had guests aboard.
That helps.
Yeah, and they were with us for a week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was a good
whole
time.
week, and we showed them all around Georgetown.
Elizabeth Harbor.
Yeah, and Elizabeth Harbor.
Reef dives and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, it was
cool.
a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. After our family flew out, we had plans to meet up with a buddy boat.
Really good friends of ours bought a catamaran, and even though they grew up in Florida, they had never seen, well, they're from Florida, they'd never seen the Exumas. So we got to, show them the Exumas. So we raced all the way back up to Big Major's spot and Staniel Key to meet them up there. Mm-hmm. But we got to show them like Rachel's Bubble Bath and Pipe Creek, Compass Key. Mm-hmm. And then work our way down, Big Farmers and all that. And that was, and Black Point. Black Point, we got a couple things really cool happen there. First of all, my buddy Matt on his boat has a Blue 3, a Nomad. And that's that breathing apparatus. It's electric, floats in the water, just stay underwater for like a half an hour on a battery. It's a compact little thing. It's awesome. So we used that. He used it and scraped the bottom of the boat, and we used it and scraped the bottom of the boat, and what a treat getting that done.
It was a lot of fun.
But while we were in Black Point, really disturbing is we were watching the moorings go in, and that was a big controversy last year, is these moorings that they were trying to drop in without going through all the proper channels to get it done. It was a whole big political thing in the Exumas, and we were watching these things go in, and some of them are still in, and it's just, yeah. Oh, they're promised to take them all back out and everything. It's never going to happen. They'll find a way to get them put back in.
Mm-hmm. We're traveling down to Georgetown with our friends on the buddy boat, and where did we get to when that storm hit?
Musha Key.
Yeah, we were at Musha Key.
David Copperfield's private island.
And one of the things I always do is when there's a storm like that coming in is I dive the anchor, because we had to literally pull over on our way at Musha Key, pull over to the side of the road, so to speak, and drop anchor. So we found adequate coverage.
The best you can do in a west wind.
Yeah. And I dove the anchor. And while I was in there, I thought, hey, I go and dive there. So I asked them, you guys need me to dive? I can dive your anchor. So I swam over to their boat and dove their anchor too. So, you got to be a good friend and make sure everybody's safe. And it was one crazy storm. So when we did get to Georgetown, we were there for a little while, but then we decided we were going to go to Conception on the correct weather window. And our friends decided not to go.
They had company coming in, flying in.
Oh, that's right too.
Martha flew in.
Yep. And we decided to go ahead and go to Conception on the weather window, because, when you gotta go. It's where we found out about the reefs.
We dove there a couple times, or a few years ago, and it was fantastic. And then we went back this time, the whole reef system was dead. It was really sad.
Yeah, both of us, I think, were very upset. They were just completely dead in comparison to when we were diving all of the coral reefs that were just around our boat. The first and second time we were there. Mm-hmm. And then when we went back the next year, it was all dead. And from Conception, we headed back to Long Island, and we met back up with the buddy boat, including Martha, at Long Island. And this was the very first time we ever rented a car, because Long Island is long, and we wanted to go down to Dean's Blue Hole.
We stopped along the way and saw this little cave with these red shrimp in it, the famous little red shrimp cave, and dove with that. I finally get to drive for the first time in years. I'm on the wrong side of the road.
Because you have to drive on the other side of the road.
I mean, it was a little rough. There was times I had to slow down to the speed limit.
Stop it.
And that's okay, a beer calmed me down. No. But Dean's Blue Hole, worth it.
Wow.
So cool. So cool.
Yeah, there's no words really, because it was unbelievable.
Here's some pictures.
Yeah. Hey, check it out.
So yeah, our whole plan was we were going to leave Florida, cruise down through the Bahamas, and work our way down south through the Caribbean.
Sure.
Piece of cake.
Sure. That was the plan to begin with.
That was a good plan.
Yeah, it was.
That was a great plan.
It was.
It was good for like 5 minutes. Life is what happens when you're busy making other plans.
That's right.
To quote Mike Tyson, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face.
That's right.
We got punched in the face out of the gate. But, I mean, we saw some gorgeous places. The Raggeds.
Oh my gosh, guys, the Raggeds are just, it's unbelievable. It's phenomenal, and I strongly suggest that if you're doing this lifestyle, go to the Raggeds. Be prepared, make sure that you are self-sufficient.
Oh, you got to be provisioned, yeah, because there's no provisions.
There's nothing. There really is nothing.
But
So
it's gorgeous. We have never been there before. We're going back. And we ran into some of the wildest stuff. Like there's all the trails crossing these islands to go to the ocean side, from the calm side. I mean, it's all ocean, but from the lee side to the windward side, they're all marked different ways. One trail had nothing but shoes. Man, it was a million shoes.
one had toys.
Creepy toys.
Creepy toys.
Doll heads and busted dolls and stuff. It was a creepy trail. And you got to do your first paddleboard solos. That's where you discovered that you could just take off when I was working and just go paddleboarding with a camera and just go explore.
Yeah, it's the area was calm enough, and there was nobody around, and I would just went out by myself and just chilled out. He was doing what he does, and I was just out there all by myself.
Cool.
Yeah, it was
that turned into a thing.
Oh, it was a thing. It's a thing.
It's a thing.
It's a thing. Yep. Raccoon
Key was on the way back up. Because
Okay.
we had skipped it going down. We went to Double Rested, where we found an airplane engine on a beach.
Yep.
No
Just
reason.
sitting there.
Just there it is.
Yeah.
But no, Raccoon Key, we went back up.
Okay, so we got down. We went right to the end of the Ragged. So we went to Ragged Island, which has nothing available to
at a
buy
beer.
on it. Well, other than alcohol, because if you try to go for lunch, no, don't do that. Don't do that.
You're
Don't
almost
go hungry.
offending them.
Don't think you're going to get a meal or go to a restaurant, because there really is not one.
And we got to see the Hog Key Yacht Club.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That was pretty cool. But
We
yeah,
hung out
going
there
back.
for like 4 or 5 days, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
And then it started to fill up with boats, so we headed back out.
Yeah.
And we did stop at Raccoon Key, which was pretty much devoid of boats, and that was really nice.
Well, Raccoon Key, that's where we did our snorkeling, and this was top tier. So this was the best snorkeling we have ever seen in our entire life. Like, it was full bloom, incredible.
Yeah, colorful elkhorn, coral,
Yeah.
fish.
Dropping your dinghy and getting in there is a little bit of a bitchy
That was
kitty.
dicey.
It is, but it's well worth it.
It's heavily guarded by barracuda and triggerfish,
But you just,
like all the reefs are.
yeah.
By the time we got back to Georgetown, we had
Through
never seen
Hog
this.
Key Cut.
Through Hog Key
You
Cut
didn't
again.
talk about Hog Key Cut? We didn't talk about Hog Key Cut. Let's talk about Hog Key Cut. That's to get to the Raggeds from Georgetown and to get back. Hog Key Cut, you absolutely have to plan that one. Because if you don't and you go during shallow, you're not going across. It is too shallow for that, even with us being only 3.5 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, draw.
It is. It's tight. You can get through, but it's tight.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about the jib, but the mainsail also took damage. The top slider car on the main is snapped. So we've been running the main reefed. So not only did we not have a jib, but we couldn't run a full main. But a good friend of ours came through and gave us his old jib.
That was really cool.
He had a jib Genoa on
Mark.
his Lagoon 420. Our friend Mark, he is awesome. And he was upgrading his sails, and he gave us his jib Genoa.
Okay.
It's not cut exactly the same, but all the dimensions are absolutely close
And
enough.
it works great.
And it works fantastic.
Yeah,
We are so thankful.
And happy about that. And then suddenly we have a full sail plan again, which we were ecstatic.
We got to do some nice spinnaker sailing.
Yes, we did.
And spinnaker sailing is absolutely your favorite, no question.
Oh yeah, it's just so relaxing. No engines going, and you've got the wind on your ass end just pushing you. It's amazing to do that.
You're up on the bow, hanging out in beanbag chairs and
Yeah.
playing around. And
Yep. And our auto helm is doing its job.
yeah, that was one of many, many parts that had to be replaced when we got hit by lightning. Here's a list of the stuff we had to replace. I wrote it down. The equipment we replaced included a generator, inverter charger, depth gauge, wind direction, wind speed, auto helm brain, EV1 heading sensor, radar dish, wind instrument gauge, auto helm controller. We have no AIS, and we couldn't replace trampolines because all the money went into equipment and more. What survived, surprisingly enough, was our radio, our ICOM radio, our Starlink, our production computer, and our phones. Our phones didn't die. We had them off when we got hit. The batteries that we had at that time were Lifetime 150s or 100s? 150s that we bought used off somebody, barely used. And we bought them in Georgetown. And man, they survived a lightning strike, no problem. They're
Yeah.
good, just find a way to charge it.
So you know about the costs of that, but the emotional damage was pretty severe. At least I felt it
Emotional damage.
pretty badly. I ended up gaining a lot of weight. I've managed to take it all back off, but yeah, that stress level, I was standing beside the mast when it was hit. It was so loud and it was so blinding that you duck and cover and your body goes into emergency mode. And I was kind of stuck in that state right until we got to the DR. And that's where I gained, like during that time from that point to here, I gained all the weight. And then I worked my way back of chilling out, because being here, we've been allowed to just pull ourselves together and start fixing what was broken, and here as well as our boat too.
But while we were doing all the repairs, there was tons of nurse sharks there to distract us. Man, that was really cool.
Through all of that, which was absolute shit show, we had people step up, and it was amazing. The sailing community is amazing. Our patrons are amazing for stepping up and helping us out during that really, really horrific time to get us back on our feet.
This season, we did a lot of repairing underway. I mean, we could have just stayed in one spot for 3-4 months and did repairs, but we'd go out of our minds. I mean, we're going out of our minds here. We're not staying in one spot, people. We had talked to so many people when we got to the Dominican who said, oh, this place is like glue. Everybody comes here, gets trapped, and they never want to leave. We can't wait to leave. We want to, there's stuff we want to do that we can't do here. You're not going to see us snorkeling and stuff here. It doesn't happen.
Oh, no. There's some really nice trails. You'll see that.
Yep, there's some trails.
Yeah.
There's a beach or two.
It's worthwhile to stay for a couple of weeks, and then it's time to go.
We got back to Georgetown this year in the summer, and we hadn't seen it in the dead of summer before. We'd been in the Bahamas in the summer, but we were north, in the North Exumas, not down the bottom. And Georgetown was freaking dead, and there was nobody there.
Yeah, it's kind of nice, but it was kind of sad at the same time, because we have a lot of friends that we meet up with in Georgetown, and everybody was gone. So
It's an amazing gathering space.
Mm-hmm.
But it was cool. We had the beaches to ourselves.
we always have the beaches to ourselves.
Oh, that beach was fun.
Yeah.
That was Sand Dollar Beach. Usually that's got 1 million boats
Oh, that's
anchored out
true.
or moored off of it.
Yeah.
We anchored right in front of the beach and just wandered out up and down the beach. It was empty. A mama and baby dolphin showed up in Georgetown, and man, they were swimming around the boat demanding attention, so we jumped in. And I swam with them for a while first, and every time I went to get out of the water, they'd follow me like, where are you going? And they were talking to me, and the baby was showing off, brought me a crab that he pulled out of the bottom and everything. And so I talked you into jumping in the water because Lisa had been watching. And man, they played with us until we were exhausted.
Yeah.
They wouldn't leave.
Yep. And then when we got out, or when Dave got out, they left.
They left as I was getting out of the water.
Apparently I was chopped liver.
There's
That was the
that
best animal encounter we've ever had. I
I
think.
think so.
Yeah.
And it wasn't
Other than petting the nurse sharks.
well, yeah. This wasn't in a marine park or nothing like this. No. This is in the anchorage off our boat in Kids Cove.
Yeah.
It's so and we had to crawl over to the litter box.
Because there's a storm coming in. Oh, actually, a hurricane coming in.
Yeah, a hurricane came through, and we weren't going to get hit by the hurricane, but we were going to get hit by the outer bands of it. We didn't know until the last minute we weren't going to get hit because you don't know it's a hurricane. And sandbox was tight and shallow, but it was good holding. And it wasn't the first place we tried. We tried another place first up at Crab Key, and we didn't like the holding, and we didn't like the clearance and stuff. They scour the bottom there. And so the holding's not great, so we left. And a boat anchored exactly where we were going to anchor. It was a brand new Bali. It was their first year cruising, and they got hit by lightning there. So,
What?
I mean, that is a showstopper.
Yes, everything stops. That's absolutely right.
Yeah, getting hit by lightning sucks.
Yeah.
So heading all the way from Elizabeth Harbor to the tip of Long Island again through Hog Key Cut. And then that was a really, really nice sail, man. That was awesome.
Smooth
And then
glass.
we got in at night. We left before dawn to head to Crooked Acklands. That's when we discovered we had a failing engine on the port side. Our engine was getting black sludge coming out of it instead of oil.
Yeah.
Which shouldn't have been coming out of it in the first place, and it wasn't running right. And
So we know that we're facing a crossing to get over to the Dominican Republic. And we're
down an engine.
And we're down an engine. It's just, it's starting to get progressively worse. But we made it through. It's fine. As you can see, we're sitting here.
Well, that's how we ended up stuck off of Great Inagua for so long. We were 2 miles off. We couldn't get to shore. So we're trying to sail in, but the wind's against us. And if you try and get a direction that you can go so that you're with the wind, then the current's against you. And we couldn't get to shore, man. That was 4 hours, I think it took to get 2 miles. It was crazy. And then we anchored and we're good. But man,
Yeah.
getting fuel was a big deal in Great Inagua and Matthewtown. The bank there doesn't accept MasterCard anything, not even debit. It's got to be Visa, and our debit is a MasterCard, and our credit card's a MasterCard, and that was a problem. But we got the fuel. That's a big deal. And then we set off for Dominican, and day sailing to the Dominican, absolutely gorgeous. And night sailing was lightning and wind and storms.
Summer
and
storms.
Squalls.
We crossed,
It was mid-September,
at the height of hurricane season.
peak hurricane season.
Yeah, if somebody's going to do it, it's going to be us.
It's going to be a YouTuber because they're stupid. So yeah, we did that. That's crazy.
We shouldn't be talking for the whole YouTube sailing community now.
I'm not.
Come on.
I'm talking for the commenters out there because they're
Yeah,
going to say it.
It's just, we would have been here a lot earlier if it hadn't have been for the lightning strike.
Yeah, about 2 months.
Yeah. So thank you very much for coming along this season with us. We enjoyed having you along with us for sure. Through the good times, the bad times, up that one wave and down the other.
Yeah, this season was not what we had planned, man. This was a mess.
Let's hope that this next season goes a little better.
Let's
but
hope.
you don't know.
You don't know till you get there.
So come along with us. Let's go find out.